Hello, hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. Today we have another replay from the round of 8 of the Late Night Quickie series number 2. So let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner of this map, we have the Teal Zerg player. He's made it all the way to the round of 8. Can he make it to the round of 4? His name is Valon. And his opponent, spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, as the pink Terran player. We've actually seen this guy in the round of 32, I believe, in a Terran versus Protoss. We're going to find out how good his Terran versus Zerg is. His name is dazdillinger. Looks like we're going to start off the game with Valon typing in the wrong chat. Oh no, terrible blunders. Hopefully he doesn't make those same kind of blunders in the micro. And here's a Ursadak female number 2. This is the second of its kind, actually. Is that a mistake? I feel like that has to be a mistake. Unit name Ursadak. Oh my god, wouldn't that just be the absolute worst? It's like, hey, my name is Bob, Bob Smith. Yeah, what's your name? Oh, my name's Unit Name Ursadak Female number 2. Yeah, my parents. I come from a long line of Ursadak Female number 2s. Wouldn't it be even worse if you were a male? It's like, what's your middle name? Name? What? Yeah, it's name. Like, don't ask. Okay, what do I call you? Unit? Oh man, that'd be absolutely terrible. But anyways, back to the actual players. It looks like dazdillinger is a repeat offender in this series, and by repeat offender, I mean the last time we saw him in the round of 32. I really hope it wasn't the round of 16, because that'd be really embarrassing, because I keep saying round of 32. But I do believe it was the round of 32, and he actually was in a Terran versus Protoss, where he decided to proxy a barracks in the center of the map, and it looks like we're going to be seeing the same thing here. dazdillinger, a definitely repeat offender of the cheese, and yeah, is actually just going to be going to try and end this game quickly. He has stopped producing. Oh, okay, now he's producing some SCVs. Looks like he actually just wanted to get out an additional Marine over here at his home base, but we're definitely going to be seeing some pressure. Actually, you know, I'm not entirely convinced this is full-on cheese. We can see over here the unit counting station. They're relatively even. dazdillinger still producing SCVs. Does have a single barracks at home. I think that he is just trying to put on a little bit of unsuspecting pressure. And this is really interesting. He's actually grouping up a good chunk of Marines, as well as keeping 2 of those SCVs over there. But you have to remember that those 2 SCVs being over here on this side of the map means they're not mining, so that is going to be a bit of an economic loss. We're going to have to see how Valon reacts. Valon has no idea about this up until this point. He has to see, you can see on the minimap, he has no idea, but now he knows. There goes up the first bunker before that creep strike can just say, no, this creep is, and this ground is too slippery for your bunkers. Your bunkers, it's going to be like trying to build on a freaking mountain slide. Your house is going to fall. But wow, look at that reaction from Valon, an insane drone pull. There has got to be almost no mining going on from Valon at this point in time. dazdillinger really just showing the good micro and saying, hey, if you're going to pull all of your drones, like every single one of them, I don't care. I mean, hey, you're not mining. Who gives a shit? And we can see over here at dazdillinger doing what damage he can, getting into a questionable position. Looks like he wanted to move into the main, but to what purpose, I have to wonder. I'm not sure if that was the best move. There are so many drones low on health, but not a lot of them lost, actually. It looks like only 2 workers killed for dazdillinger. And wow, Valon actually not doing a terrible job holding that off. We can see over here in the unit counting station that honestly dazdillinger did not do all that much damage. We can see, look, oh my god, guys, we see so many more barracks going down. We can see 6 barracks over here. Wait, is that, no, that's 7 barracks plus this one over here, which will actually be lifted off, so it's not going to matter too much. But still, 7 barracks. I don't know if you guys know about this, but the TLO infamous build is the 6 racks. So this is 1 additional racks. I don't think he can actually support this on 1 base. You can see he's not really producing too many more SCVs. He cut SCVs for a good while there while he was doing that aggression. I'm not sure if this is going to work out for dazdillinger, but we're going to have to wait and see. He's definitely, and I assure you, going to be putting on some big pressure play at this point in time. We're going to have to see how his opponent Valon decides to react. So really just opening up this game with some obscenely large aggression, even kind of pulling a couple more of those Marines before he decided to move in, leaving those 2 SCVs, even though he really only needed 1 SCV to build that barracks. And we're going to have to wait and see if dazdillinger can break his opponent's front with push number 2. We see a lot of Zerglings being produced, actually. This is kind of interesting. Both of these players playing a very low economy game. Only now is Valon getting a couple more of those drones mixed in while he does produce some more of those Zerglings. But it looks like, for the most part, Valon is a little bit afraid about what his opponent could be up to. He's scouting around. It looks like he might actually be wanting to see if there was, or where was that proxy barracks, my bad. But we see that insane Marine production. I mean, just 1 wave of these is exactly 7 Marines. That's absolutely insane. 2 waves of them is 14, guys. I know you think that you can do math, but trust me, you guys didn't know these numbers until I said them. But the main point is, this is actually a really large number of Marines, and, you know, luckily for Valon, he does have that large number of Zerglings already positioned. And look at this beautiful positioning. Now this positioning over here is actually going to work out perfectly, because now he can set up this flank, wait as the Zerglings come in with that creep even. They're going to be able to easily get a nice little surround on that army. The Marines are trying to get into a nice little position against the ridge, but it's not going to be enough, and Valon easily cleans up that push. But you have to remember, there's still some obscene unit producing potential from dazdillinger. He might still be able to defend. He's lifting up the barracks to try and pull them over, but it looks like the Zerglings are going to be running in. They might actually get there before the barracks get a chance to land. If he gets in, that could actually be huge. 1 Zergling does get in. And are they going to come in? Are they going to come in? They're running. They're running. They're going to be so close. It's going to be nail-biting. They make it there in time, and the Marines are caught completely out of position. Without the defense of that wall in, it looks like the Zerglings pick off a good chunk of those Marines, but they're just deciding now to run into the main now, even though dazdillinger does have a really large capability of unit producing structures. He does not have all those Marines queued up, and once a Zerg gets on top of a Terran production, it can be very, very difficult to deal with. We do see all the remaining Marines get cleaned up. Now the SCVs are being forced to be pulled out. We can already see in the unit carry station that it's 37 drones to a dwindling 18, now 17, 16, 15. We're learning math here, over here in the Late Night Quickie series, and all the Zerglings are cleaned up. As we can see, there are not 0 Zerglings left on the map, though, and Valon is looking to be in a fabulous position in this game. Look at that, and you have to realize, okay, what position is dazdillinger in? We know that, yes, he has a huge, absolutely obscene lead in those workers, but what else? Why do I think that this game is going to be so difficult for dazdillinger to come back from, outside of just economy? You know, I mean, dazdillinger does have this obscene number of barracks, and actually doing a kind of interesting play, does want to be a little bit wary of those Baneling bust potentials, it would seem, and I actually like it if he decided to put this barracks that he's landing over on this corner down over here. I think this is a more susceptible area rather than this area over here. But a small note. Anyways, what dazdillinger also does not have is an obscene number of Marines. You can see over here, just 8 Marines to the what? 32 Zerglings. 32 Zerglings can easily take that number of Marines, especially with this Baneling nest now out. And now you have to realize, look at this obscene, and I say obscene so many times in this game now, but wow, it's just, this should not be happening. Look, Valon is able to take an uncontested third, does have this large number of Zerglings, has this potential for this ridiculous creep spread. Look at how many creep tumors he has. He even has energy still left over on this queen. Also has, and that he's not neglecting his larva injects at all. Able to get his lair up, getting all of his gas geysers mining. I mean, he's getting his upgrades. Like, what more could a Zerg ask for? Basically, at this point in time, he's playing one of those games against the computer, except it's one of those like campaign missions where the computer never attacks you until you attack them first. And dazdillinger is going to be just kind of like chilling and be like, oh god, I really hope my opponent doesn't attack me, cross my fingers, hope to die, and actually by hope to die I mean hope to stay alive. But some things that dazdillinger does have going for him is, again, unit producing structures. You know, he does have kind of interestingly 3 factories. I really don't think he's going to be able to support this, especially with the low economy situation he's in right now. Just 30 SCVs. Yes, mule all you want, you Terran players, but 30 SCVs is not going to be enough to support 3 tech lab factories. And the Overseer coming in, seeing everything. He is going to actually be shot down by these Marines over here, angry and out for blood for their fallen comrades. But that Overseer doesn't care. He's died for the heart of the swarm. Yeah, and honestly, just getting such a fabulous scout off. Saw the armory, and honestly, I wouldn't be expecting... Yes, there it is. Thor's with that armory finish. You know, if Valon does know his Terran tech tree, we're going to be seeing some Thors and anti-Thor preparation coming out of Valon, and we actually see a Roach Warren going down right now. So Roaches, not a terrible defense against those Thors. Oftentimes those Zerglings, they can't find the surface area against those Thors to really do enough damage. They have just too much health, and the Zerglings just don't do it high enough DPS. So having those range units like the Roaches that are pretty cheap, and you know, even though they take quite a bit of damage from those Thors, they can deal some very high DPS in that group because they can all fire really quickly all at once, stop that repair on those Thors, and yeah, they can make things a little bit more easy to do. I'm actually going to go ahead and set myself to busy. I think I am getting a couple of notifications. But don't want to distract you guys from this game. I'm really curious to see if dazdillinger can pull out a miracle from this game. He does have a relatively decent economy at this point in time now, up to 43 SCVs, but is Valon's powering up going to be too much? Look at this. He already has a pretty good Baneling count. Let's take a look at the upgrades. We already see +1 melee attacks. That's definitely going to help out with those Baneling kits, especially with Baneling against Thors. You don't really expect it, but Banelings are pretty important, especially against the potential for repaired Thors, because the Banelings just do damage so freaking fast. They just come in one after the other, like someone pummeling you in the face with a baseball bat. Just like, no, you don't get a chance to recover your sanity. I'm just going to keep hitting you with this baseball bat. But, yeah, that's kind of how Banelings are. So, if you don't like getting hit with a baseball bat, try not to get hit by a Baneling, like Banelings in this constant series, in this flow. It's pretty painful. But anyways, we also see that very nice crew spread starting to make its way up to the center of the map, even gooping its way over toward that bottom right and over here, where it'll actually just make it easier. If dazdillinger does decide to move out, he'll have that creep spread advantage. Look at how many creep tumors are actually reinforcing this. I'm actually really curious, unless dazdillinger is really doing a good job, he's going to have a very difficult time trying to clear this out. This will actually slow down his army so much if he decides to scan and pick off all these creep tumors as he does decide to move across the map. As honestly, I think if anyone is going to have to move across the map and do some big attack, it's going to be dazdillinger at this point in time. Just because, I mean, come on, like, you're up against a 1, 2, 3, 4, potential for 5 base Zerg, and you're on 2 base, and you have 7 Thors. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, cool story, bro. Like, but this is going to be a very rough situation for dazdillinger. I mean, Thors are pretty good, and that's actually what I'm going to be thinking that dazdillinger might be kind of counting on at this point. He might be thinking, hey, you know, I'm kind of in a really rough spot in this game, but I can get eliminated if I do lose this game. So I might as well give it my all, go for something that, you know what, if I can just somehow, by some miracle, my opponent decides to let me max out on Thors, he might just have a bad engagement. I might just get lucky. And you know, that's honestly not too bad of a plan, especially when you have nothing else to lose. I mean, what's the harm in staying in this game, just trying it out? And can you imagine how hard that Zerg player, Valon, would rage if he ended up losing this game after having such a huge lead? I know I would definitely be raging. But it looks like, honestly, I do agree with Valon's decision making right now. He's continuing to get some of those upgrades. Could be using the second evolution chamber a little bit better, but no big deal. He does have those infestors popping out. Those are going to be definitely useful, especially if there are any repairing SCVs. He has that hive tech done and that spire already done. I would love to see some broodlords, as long as you do a relatively decent spread with your broodlords, you can do a lot of damage to these Thors. Thors really just aren't as effective unless those broodlords are really clumped up, and these Thors actually doing a little bit of moving around the map, trying to get a little bit of map control as he tries to siege, or seize, I should say, this third, as he does not really have any siege tanks coming out at this point in time. Does have a second armory, though. That's definitely going to help with some of those upgrades on the Thors. I don't think he has... Oh, he actually has... Wow. Good job for dazdillinger. He already has +1/+1 on the Thors. It's going to be very useful. And does have a couple of Marines and Marauders mixed in. That's going to be very important as well. But we do see, once again, that huge creep spread. Again, I hate to come back to this point and kind of belabor it so much, but that creep spread is going to be so useful for Valon to just delay this push from coming across the map. As you really, just as a Terran army in general, you don't want to be caught completely off guard by such a mobile Zerg army force. Especially when you have this many Banelings. Holy cow. 3 full control groups of Banelings. We see the Corruptors actually coming out. I'm really curious what those Corruptors are going to be coming out for, as the Greater Spire is not even started yet. Unless he just got that Spire for upgrades, I don't think he... No, he does not have a Greater Spire, so a very interesting decision. I guess it will help if there are any medevacs out, but, you know, I would actually testify this to Valon not really having the greatest idea about what his opponent is up to at this point in time. Maybe just preparing just in case his opponent decided to make medevacs. But anyways, we do see nothing but Thors being really made and a couple of Marauders from that obscene number of barracks he initially had. Now really just kind of making use of those barracks and using them for a bit of a wall off, trying to prevent any kind of big Zergling run-bys and all of that kind of stuff. Soak up some damage. And I really do like that decision making. You might as well make use of them as long as you're not really making units out of all of them. But here we do see one of those Zergling run-bys I was just talking about, and, you know, they are going to be able to do some good damage. You can see over here in the Workers Loss tab, in my Workers Loss, I mean, just unit kind of station. Oh my god, he's actually doing an obscene amount of damage. Holy cow! He just lost about 20 or so workers. That actually completely decimated dazdillinger's economy. Again, for the second time in this game, he's down about to 21 workers. Oh man, that's so painful. Wow, dazdillinger has to move out at this point in time. He has no other choice. We do see the Greater Spire being morphed, though. It's about to finish up. He does have those Corruptors out. Where are those Corruptors? We don't see the Broodlords being morphed in just quite yet, but we do see the Thors finally over at this base over here. And we see the Banelings coming in. They're doing some massive damage, but those units were not very clumped up. Here the Banelings doing a lot more damage, and they managed to take out about half of the Thor count, but there are still a pretty hefty number of Thors left. I think that wave 2 is going to cause a serious amount of issues for dazdillinger, though. We see 7 Broodlords being morphed in, and I'm not sure if this Broodlord or if this Broodlord army can be fended off by this small number of Thors and a couple of Marines. It's really going to be difficult, and honestly at this point in time, dazdillinger is basically dead broke. He can't really even afford to produce more than maybe 1 or 2 Thors at a time, especially on this low economy situation of 24 workers. Sure, he has his 3rd up, and he also is mining still from his 2nd, just barely, but he really just doesn't have enough economy to reproduce these Thors. Meanwhile, let's take a look over here. Valon lost 1 base. He's already taken this base and started mining from it. He should be able to get those gas guzzlers up pretty soon, as that's definitely going to be his choke, and there they are. They do go down. But he has these Broodlords out. He has a fabulous economy of 68 drones, and now he's moving across to the Broodlords. The Broodlords clumping up a little bit, and those Thors doing some good damage, but a lot of those Thors actually instead focus firing down those Broodlings, and here come in the Zergling army, and they're just going to be able to get a complete surround. No escape for you, Thors. The Zerglings mixing in with the Broodlings. The Broodlings taking a little bit of that damage, and the Zerglings decimating the Thor force, and there is the good game from dazdillinger. So dazdillinger putting in a good effort trying to make a decent comeback, but really just not able to deal with the Valon's complete powering up with that good creep spread, that good upgrade researching. We can already see, yes, he already had +3 done, and researching his +3 armor. Had those Broodlords out, powered up on those bases, and honestly, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Dazdillinger committing to that aggression with the proxy racks, and then committing again with the transition into a 7 racks build with the addition of that 8th racks having been proxied, not really being able to make use of it. Not really able to do enough damage against Valon's obscene number of Zerglings. And yeah, that kind of just spelt the doom, and from there on out, it was a downward fall, but very well played. It was just this. If you want an example of how you should play a game after you secure a lead, this is the perfect example from Valon after you've eliminated your opponent's army. Oh, how could I forget the Zergling run by into Dazdillinger's main magnificent timing? Wow, that actually was what sealed the deal. But anyways, that is going to wrap up this game. Congratulations to Valon. We are going to be seeing more of him in the round of 4. And very well played from Dazdillinger. Unfortunately, did not make it through. So here we say goodbye to our little proxying hero. Goodbye, Dazdillinger. And hopefully you decide to sign up for the next Late Night Quickie. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching the video, and please subscribe if you like my video and commentary in any capacity whatsoever. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's twitter.com/FearDragon64. I'm also on Twitch TV, where I do a lot of live events. I just recently also did an intern versus full-timer show match for the Amazon employees. So you can go ahead and check that out. That should be the video just previous to this. Yeah, I do those as a live cast on my Twitch TV account. That's twitch.tv/FearDragon64. This has been FearDragon, and I'm signing